Updates to the Snap ecosystem from Core.
You're watching CineD, supported by B&H and CVP.
Hey everyone, Graham Mailer-Sheldon here from CineD.com. Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada, NAB 2025. I'm here in the Core booth with Ross from Core to talk about the Nano M-Snap system. So Ross, why don't you dive right in?
Sure. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to eliminate the need for like camcorder-based chargers on set. So we took our very popular Nano M packs and added the Snap protocol that we released last year in a smaller M-Snap, like micro Snap form factor. So now through one USB-C PD, you could charge different platform battery packs as well as different voltages of packs. So here we have a Sony BPU, a Canon BPA, as well as a Sony L-Series battery. So a Sony L-Series is more 7-volt standard, but you could all charge them in a nice stack. The other nice thing we added was we complemented the P-taps on our BPA and BPUs with PD Pro ports, which I know you're familiar with from last year. And we added a PD Pro port on our Nano F. What that allows you to do in the case of like a Pixis is you have a Sony BPU battery running the Pixis, and now you have two auxiliary outs. I have a P-tap going to the small HD monitor, and I have a PD Pro outputting 15 volts right to the Teradek. So you have an additional accessory port. Even cooler, way back when there was a monitor that output 8 volts, and I thought it was great because it was one battery pack powering both monitor and camcorder or camera. Our Sony L-Series Nano F style can go on a monitor, and then you have a PD Pro port. I can power just USB-C to like an FX30 or an FX3. I could even do an FX6 like here. So we can get 19.5 volts out on the PD Pro port, and there's no box in like regulation box. It's all done inside the pack itself.
You know, one of the things I frankly love about Core, I love what you guys are doing because it's so camera operator, DP, camera department friendly. I mean, just looking at this rig right here, Teradek on top, we're powering the camera, and it's just incredibly small, which I love because that's the direction we're moving as an industry. It's just less is more, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, I put up a post on LinkedIn the other day. We listen, right? Like I said to my guys the other day, obviously the cinema space is kind of beaten down right now. I was like, listen harder. There's still opportunities here. There's still ways of making really cool, innovative kit rather than just, you know, upping the capacity or changing a label. We're trying to integrate in every year technology that's readily accessible in the consumer space and adapting it to make it viable for our industry and making, hopefully, lives easier. So we're really excited about the M-Snaps. I think we have a roadmap to make different capacities, especially to support like gimbals, so they're more shallow. I think even like Canon BP style for red Komodos now that have dropped in price. I think there's a lot of opportunity here so that you can just charge more simply.
Now, digging a little bit deeper, I mean, I see you have a stack of 3 here, and there's a USB-C in. So say this is in, you know, my hotel room, I'm on the road. How long would you say it takes to, you know, give or take, to charge all 3 of those camcorder, you're calling it, style batteries? And then, obvious next question, can I make this stack larger? I mean, what can we do here?
You can definitely make it larger. You can go as high as you want. It's just going to take longer to charge.
It becomes Jenga at some point, though.
Right. Yeah, well, yes. It's up to 100-watt USB-C PD input on the packs. But again, we were talking before off camera, we prioritize longevity over speed. So we're not just going to allow the product to accept 100 watts if it's not in the ideal condition to accept 100 watts, because we want to make sure your product lasts. So we will charge as efficiently and safely as possible. And a stack of 3, this is 70 watts, by the way, so it's super robust. So this is about 270 watts, probably charged between 3 and 3.5 hours.
Great. I mean, perfect for, you know, you're on the road, you're charging overnight, you wake up, everything's good to go.
That's exactly the thought process is you don't have to like cycle out chargers and stuff like that. Just stack it. I wouldn't get too high. I would just use another charger, right? The PD chargers nowadays are you can even use your MacBook Pro charger for these. So that's that. And then we also released at the show our Snap Extreme. So last year.
What makes it extreme?
All right. So last year we released our Snap, which had those PD Pros on it we talked about on the power taps. We're calling it Extreme because it has a locking mechanism now. So some people said, well, the magnets are really strong, really robust, but what if? So we said, we got you. So now our locking protocol locks the pack on, and you can't pull it off unless you choose to pull it off. The other thing we did was all our adapter plates, whether the QR plate we came out last year, because we already had this on the product roadmap, or our Snap It plates, which change the packs into G-mount and V-mount compatible, have already the mechanism to receive the locking feature on the packs. Lastly, the original packs didn't support camera communication. The new packs do with these plates. And however, anyone that did invest in these, if you put one of these on first, these are already SM bus compatible, so it'll just aggregate the information. So we're not taking away any features, or we didn't rook anyone. We're continually adapting the system for everyone's needs nowadays.
Now, if it's not immediately evident to folks at home, one of the reasons why, at least I think the Snap system is super, super cool, and then with Extreme, is the fact, say you're on a run and gun dock shoot or in a live event space where it's like the camera can't go down, you can't cut power for any reason, your AC or your PA can come up behind, click it on, and then of course, now with the Extreme, with the locking mechanism, here, yeah, you're doing it on the side, let's pan that around. Boom.
Yeah, we coined a phrase, you just snap one on.
You just snap one on. There you go. And then, now you can lock it. So the fear of like bumping up against it or whatever and having one fall off is sort of removed.
Exactly. And we even are coming out with even more adapters for the Snap ecosystem. We have a Komodo plate here. This is for the FX6. So there's different iterations of Snap products to get the Snap on your camera rig. And then these are great for like onboard monitors. Like it's super, this is a little more chunky than 98, but right on the back of the monitor, you keep it super slim. And yeah, we're excited about our Snap ecosystem that we're continuing to develop.
Cool, me too. Anything you feel like we missed, you want to cover before I kind of sign off here? You're like, oh, I wish Graham asked you,
I think these are, no, I'm super excited about these because I want to, what we want to do is we want to try to make it more simple to power your rig. And I think these, with so many L-series monitors, whether it's Small HD, Atomos, whatnot, having that auxiliary port that not only is USB CPD, but can output up to 28 volts. So it can handle an FX6. It could handle, you can go 4-pin XLR out of these. It just adds to the kind of diversity of the product. So it's super, usable in any environment. So we're making lives easier, hopefully.
Well, thank you so much for making lives easier in the camera department. Ross, I always appreciate it. Thank you so much. There you have it. Just snap it on. That's it for us here at the Core booth at NAB 2025. If you want to see more videos like this, could you please like and subscribe, because that would be awesome. Thanks, everybody.